We open on a man absolutely seething. A game he's been playing just announced its end of service after only 3 years, and he is done with it. He calls it hot garbage, the weakest of weak sauce, and his only demand in life is one simple thing: give him a game that takes 10 years to beat. This guy is not your average casual player. We're talking about a hardcore gamer, capital H, capital G, someone who eats, sleeps, and breathes gaming. His name is ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ Yamada, 35 years old, no education, no money, no romance, a completely unremarkable office worker by every metric of normal society, and yet, in the world of games, this man is a predator. So naturally, when a mysterious pop-up ad appears for a brand new game set in a fantasy world of swords and magic, a game that claims it never ends, ᴅɪsᴄ is intrigued. He clicks in, he checks the difficulty settings: easy, normal, extra, and then, tucked at the bottom like a dare, is a mode called Hell Mode. The description reads, and I'm paraphrasing here, "Regret is the least of your worries, for you shall be faced with utter despair." ᴅɪsᴄ's response? Bring it. He selects Hell Mode immediately, no hesitation whatsoever. The game flashes a warning: leveling up requires 100 times more EXP than normal mode. He doesn't even blink. Then comes the class selection screen, and this is where things get really interesting. There are classes like Swordsman, Spear User, Sword Master, Hero, and even Demon Lord, but ᴅɪsᴄ notices one class sitting in the corner with an unusually high difficulty rating: the Summoner. The description reveals it starts the player at the Surf Social class and is still in alpha testing. ᴅɪsᴄ's eyes light up. He asks how he can even select an alpha class, then shrugs it off and locks it in anyway. Classic move. That's exactly the kind of challenge this man lives for. He hits start, and then something unexpected happens. This is not a digital game at all. The world begins to close in around him. Warmth, darkness, pressure, and then light, crying, and a woman's voice. "You did amazing, sweetheart." ᴅɪsᴄ Yamada has been literally reincarnated, born into a fantasy world as a real flesh and blood baby. He takes in his surroundings and delivers one of the best deadpan lines of the episode. "Welp, this is a literal take on the reincarnation trope. Gee, thanks for making it so obvious." His father names him Alan, inspired by the alba heron, a type of migratory monster bird that flies freely anywhere in the world. Rodin, his new father, is a young man of about 20 who is hardworking, dedicated, and every bit the devoted family man. His mother, ᴅɪsᴄ, is a beautiful young woman, probably still in her late teens, gentle and warm to the core. Alan is their only child for now, and he is deeply aware that despite being mentally 35 years old, his body is that of an infant. He can't talk properly yet, but can think clearly and understand language perfectly. He also notes with great relief that Japanese appears to be the common tongue in this world. Settled into his new life, Alan starts working the problem. He's a summoner now, but he can't figure out how to access his abilities. Night after night, while his parents sleep, he tries to summon his grimoire, the magical book that should contain his class data. He fails dozens of times, accidentally shouting out loud at one point and nearly getting caught by ᴅɪsᴄ. But eventually, after a full year of trying, it works. The grimoire appears. Alan finally gets to see his stats: Level 1, HP 4, MP 2, Attack 1, Endurance 1, Agility 2, Intelligence 3, Luck 2. His skills are Summon 1, Create 1, and Delete. His available EXP is 0 out of 1,000. The numbers are terrible, but hey, that's Hell Mode for you, 100 times the grind. Alan doesn't panic. Instead, he starts poking around. He also finds a message from the game's administrator, signed by ᴅɪsᴄ, the god of creation herself, apologizing for the late delivery of his grimoire. Apparently, because Summoner is still in alpha testing class, the paperwork took a while to process. She also politely informs him that no cancellations or class changes are accepted. Alan's response? Whatever, I want to summon stuff. He spends the next few nights figuring out the mechanics. He learns that to summon a creature, he first has to use the Create skill to generate a card, and then use Summon to bring it out. On his first successful creation, he produces an Insect H card, a massive grasshopper. He names it Denka. The grasshopper can't follow complex orders, it's basically just a dumb bug that hops when told. But then Alan notices something critical. While Denka is summoned, his own stats go up. endurance +1, agility +1. The summons give him passive buffs, and that changes everything. This mechanic becomes the cornerstone of Alan's whole strategy. He starts stacking summon cards. He can hold up to 10 cards for each creature type. 10 Beast H cards means his attack stat goes up by 10. Even as a baby now, he's physically stronger than any normal infant by a significant margin. He moves on to creating Beast H, a rat he names Mousy, which buffs his HP and agility, and comes with the Scurry ability. Both are dumb animals with no real combat intelligence, but they respond to basic commands. Denka hops, Mousy scurries. It's a start. Then the story jumps forward. Alan is now 1 year and 10 months old in August, and he has a major breakthrough. His summon and create skills both hit level 2. He unlocks a brand new skill called Fuse, and the Grimoire Notes feature is now available. His card inventory space doubles. He immediately tries to fuse 2 Mousy cards together, but his current max MP isn't enough to do it. His frustration is palpable. He recovers his MP by eating dinner and tries again, still not enough for either fusing or creating G-rank creatures. He grumbles about Hell Mode being relentless. Cut to age 3, October. Alan now has G-rank cards available across multiple creature types. He fuses an Insect G, Hopper, with a Beast G, Moly, and unlocks a completely new type, Bird G. He names it Chappie. Chappie's ability is voice mimicry, which Alan immediately clocks as potentially very useful for tricking enemies. He experiments further. Hopper has Provoke for distracting enemies. Moly has Dig, which can create pitfall traps. The G-rank creatures buff his stats by 2 each, a meaningful upgrade. Alan is delighted. This is hardcore gaming at its finest, reading the meta, building synergies, dominating through knowledge of the system. We also get a look at village life. Rodin comes home one evening covered in blood after a successful boar hunt, cheerfully carrying the news that he took down a great boar, a C-rank monster that requires at least 20 grown men working together to kill. He shows little Alan the carcass, and they meet Gerda, whose daughter Krenna is the same age as Alan. Krenna is an incredibly energetic, spirited girl who's already talking about becoming a knight. Alan notices that Rodin, despite being a serf with no talent, is highly respected in the village as a hunter, and he also picks up on the social structure. Serfs pay taxes in labor and produce to the ruling lord, commoners have more freedom, and higher classes exist above them. This world runs on a rigid hierarchy. Back at home, Rodin spots Alan throwing rocks at a tree every day and asks what he's up to. Alan tells him he's training to protect the family from monsters. Rodin is moved. What Alan doesn't say is that he's actually trying to learn other skills other than summoning, testing whether he can unlock combat abilities through repeated practice. Then, Rodin mentions the appraisal ceremony. At age 5, every person in this world, serf to noble, gets evaluated by a divine ceremony that reveals their talent and stats. A good talent can lift you out of serfdom entirely. Heroes like the sword lord Dverg were born as serfs. Alan files this away immediately. This is a critical event on the horizon. The episode wraps with a genuinely touching moment. ᴅɪsᴄʟ goes into labor. Alan, Rodin, and a very panicked Gerda scramble to help. Matilda, the midwife, arrives and takes over. Rodin names his new brother Mash, and when ᴅɪsᴄʟ suspiciously asks if it's another monster name, Rodin fumbles spectacularly. Alan holds his baby brother and thinks to himself, being broke, uneducated, and romantically useless in his past life doesn't bother him. There's nothing holding him back now. He's going to hoard the best gear and max out every stat he can. But as he holds Mash, he adds something else quietly. This family stuff is pretty nice too. And honestly, that's the heart of this show right there. I want to free my family from serfdom. That's Alan's real goal. Alan is now 5 years old, still running hell mode, still grinding in secret, still a mental adult trapped in a small child's body. He asks Rodin to explain what the appraisal ceremony actually is. Rodin breaks it down. When you turn 5, every person in the kingdom, serf, commoner, or noble, has to participate in a divine ceremony that reveals your stats and talent. If you're lucky enough to have a talent, it can open doors. It can even pull you out of serfdom. This world has seen heroes who came from the bottom. The Saintess Clasis was born a commoner. The legendary sword lord Dverg was a serf. So the system is designed this way intentionally. Certain powerful classes like hero and sword lord can only originate from low social classes. It's not just lore, it's actually how the world is built. Alan files this away and connects it to his own character select screen back before his reincarnation. Those were actual in-world mechanics, not just game flavor text. This world follows game logic at a fundamental level, and Alan is the only person alive who understands that. The group sets out to the ceremony together. Alan, Rodin, and an absolutely overexcited ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ, who has already declared she wants to be appraised as swordswoman so she can become a knight. The commoner village is bigger and clearly more established than the serf village, and the children attending the ceremony are noticeably better dressed. A group of commoner kids immediately clock Alan's dark hair and eyes as unusual, clearly marking him as a serf. But before any real confrontation can develop, the reverend presiding over the ceremony interrupts with a speech about ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ, the god of creation, blessing everyone equally. Alan internally connects the reverend's description of famous heroes born from low social classes to the class selection screen he remembers. The game really did design it that way. The ceremony begins. Children step up one by one and place their hands on a glowing crystal ball. Their stats and talent are then inscribed on a large metal plate behind the reverend. The first few kids reveal a range of results. Not everyone gets a talent, and Alan observes that having any talent at all seems to be cause for serious celebration. Palomis, the chieftain's son, gets the merchant talent. His family is overjoyed. Dagora, a serf kid who will become a recurring face, gets Axe User with an A-rank attack attribute, the first A-rank anyone has seen all ceremony. The crowd buzzes. Higher ranks only seem to appear when someone has a talent backing them up. And then it's ᴅɪsᴄʟ's turn. The Reverend reads the results and visibly pauses. He calls it a miracle. The whole room goes still. ᴅɪsᴄʟ has the talent of Sword Lord, one of the rarest and most powerful talents in existence. Her attack is S rank, her endurance and agility are both A rank. The crowd completely erupts. People are chanting her name. Even adults who barely know her are losing their minds. ᴅɪsᴄʟ herself, being 5, is mildly disappointed that she didn't get swordswoman specifically, but that's pure ᴅɪsᴄ energy right there. The girl is so naturally powerful that she can't even appreciate how exceptional she is yet. Alan watches all of this with a small smile. He's always known ᴅɪsᴄʟ was absurdly overpowered. It's the only logical explanation for why, even with all his buffs from stacked summon cards, he can barely keep up with her in their daily playfights. Swordlord checks out completely. Now it's Alan's turn. He steps up, the grimoire appears, and then immediately vanishes. Alan scrambles. He can feel the crystal ball activating, so the ceremony is going through, but the grimoire disappearing is alarming. The results appear on the metal plate, and the Reverend's face falls. His parents, who can't read, ask the Reverend to tell them what it says about Alan. The Reverend delivers the news. Alan has no talent. His stats? Every single attribute is E rank across the board. HP, MP, attack, endurance, agility, luck, all E. And where his talent should be displayed, the text reads something garbled and completely unreadable. Alan can see it clearly in his grimoire perspective, and he is furious. It's a straight-up text rendering glitch. The summoner class is so new and so under-tested that the game literally broke during his appraisal. He internally loses it on the developers, calling them useless scrubs and promising to drown them in complaint letters. The most hilarious part is that this is a divine god we're talking about, ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ, the god of creation, and Alan is ready to send strongly worded feedback submissions to the literal heavens. His parents take the news with grace and warmth. ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ hugs him and tells him talents don't matter, that he will always be their pride and joy. His little brother Mash reaches out to him from ᴅɪsᴄʟ's arms. Rodin is steady and supportive. Alan watches them and thinks, despite everything, despite the terrible stats on paper and the glitching talent display, he's still happy he was born into this family. But Alan is also intellectually processing what happened. He works it out. Everyone at the ceremony is 5 years old and should be at level 1. The rank system reflects the growth potential of each attribute, how much a stat will increase with each level up. Since Hell mode makes his level up progression 1/100th of the normal rate, his growth values per level are also 1/100th of normal, which is why all his attributes show as E rank.
He's not actually weak, his progression is just measured in a completely different unit than everyone else's, and when his talent display glitched, it was because the summoner class is unrecognized by the system, not because he doesn't have one.
This is a critically important moment for the series. Alan is the only person in the world playing on Hell mode. Everyone else is on easy, normal, or extra. He's running a fundamentally different difficulty, and the world itself has no framework to understand what that means. Now, the episode shifts to the aftermath. There's a celebration party at Gerda's house for Krina's Sword Lord talent. Everyone is drinking and celebrating, except Rodin, who has a dark cloud hanging over him. Gerda demands to know what's wrong. Rodin finally says it out loud. He thinks they should cut ties with Krina's family. He explains that Krina's talent is extraordinary. She could join the knighthood, serve the country, even become nobility. People with that kind of potential shouldn't waste their time being friends with serfs. It'll hold her back. It's a painfully misguided act of love. Rodin isn't jealous. He genuinely believes he's doing the right thing for Krina's future by removing himself and his family from the equation. But it lands like a gut punch to Gerda, who immediately explodes at him. The argument escalates fast, and it takes Krina herself, all 5 years old of her, to step in and physically shut both men down. It works immediately. Never mess with a sword lord. Gerda's wife Matilda fills Alan in on the backstory. These 4 parents, Rodin, Teresia, Gerda, and Matilda, are all childhood friends who grew up in the same village together. 10 years ago, they all chose to relocate together to help establish this new frontier land. They literally built each other's houses with their own hands, splitting the labor between roof, walls, and support beams. Their friendship goes as deep as roots go. Rodin's attempt to push them away wasn't just wrong, it was cutting himself off from the people who matter most to him. The very next day, the situation escalates dramatically. Word about Krina's talent has reached the capital. The Order of Knights arrives in the village, led by Captain Zinov. They've come to verify the appraisal ceremony results firsthand. Why? Because 3 years earlier, a noble family was caught exaggerating their child's talent. Afterward, the kingdom made it policy to thoroughly verify every extraordinary claim. A sword lord born in a frontier serf village? That needs verification. The verification method turns out to be a duel. Zinov's vice captain, Leibrand, is ordered to fight Krina. If she loses, her family will be executed on the spot for falsifying the ceremony results. The logic is brutal, and the adults are horrified. Gerda is physically held back from charging the knights. But Krina doesn't hesitate for even a second. She picks up the sword, nearly as tall as she is, announces herself as Krina the Knight, and accepts the challenge. What follows is one of the most jaw-dropping moments of the early series. Krina fights an adult vice captain of the Order of Knights. She's 5, she's never held a real sword, and she wins. The whole crowd is stunned. The knight captain himself is visibly shaken. He lowers his weapon and declares the duel over. The talent is confirmed. Sword Lord Krina is the real deal. Captain Zinov apologizes to Gerda for the harsh trial and then begins a formal meeting at the chieftain's house to discuss Krina's future. The village will be renamed Krina Village in her honor by order of the Baron. He explains that Krina should continue developing her skills, and when she turns 12, she can attend the academy and eventually enter royal service. Big future is waiting for her. Dogora's father, seizing the moment, mentions that his son Dogora has the axe user talent and wants to join the academy too. It's shameless schmoozing, but it works. Zinov says an instructor will eventually be dispatched to the village, and if Dogora studies hard enough, he can earn his admission. Dogora cheers. He immediately tells Alan they're going to study together. Alan plays along while internally noting that he's mentally 40 years old and surrounded by 5-year-olds calling him dumb.
The real kicker is when Xenoph notices Rodin. He recognizes the name immediately. Rodin the boar hunter is apparently famous. The Baron himself apparently loves the great boar meat supplied by ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ village each winter, and Rodin is specifically recognized as the person who takes on the most dangerous role in those hunts. He's called a village legend, a veritable hero, with praise basically passed from the Baron himself. Rodin is quietly moved and humbled. Gerda is beside himself with pride. The episode closes with the families heading home, kids sneaking snacks from the chieftain's table to bring back to their mothers. It's a warm, grounded ending to a genuinely wild episode. And underneath it all, Alan is still quietly seething about his broken talent display and fully planning to flood ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ's divine inbox with the most vicious feedback letters this world has ever seen. He's on hell mode. Everyone else is playing on easy, and he's just getting started.
Alan is now 5 years old, still running hell mode, still grinding in secret, still a mental adult trapped in a small child's body. He asks Rodin to explain what the appraisal ceremony actually is. Rodin breaks it down. When you turn 5, every person in the kingdom, serf, commoner, or noble, has to participate in a divine ceremony that reveals your stats and talent. If you're lucky enough to have a talent, it can open doors. It can even pull you out of serfdom. This world has seen heroes who came from the bottom. The Saintess Clasis was born a commoner. The legendary sword lord Dverg was a serf. So the system is designed this way intentionally. Certain powerful classes like hero and sword lord can only originate from low social classes. It's not just lore, it's actually how the world is built. Alan files this away and connects it to his own character select screen back before his reincarnation. Those were actual in-world mechanics, not just game flavor text. This world follows game logic at a fundamental level, and Alan is the only person alive who understands that. The group sets out to the ceremony together. Alan, Rodin, and an absolutely overexcited ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ, who has already declared she wants to be appraised as swordswoman so she can become a knight. The commoner village is bigger and clearly more established than the serf village, and the children attending the ceremony are noticeably better dressed. A group of commoner kids immediately clock Alan's dark hair and eyes as unusual, clearly marking him as a serf. But before any real confrontation can develop, the reverend presiding over the ceremony interrupts with a speech about ᴅɪsᴟᴜ, the god of creation, blessing everyone equally. Alan internally connects the Reverend's description of famous heroes born from low social classes to the class selection screen he remembers. The game really did design it that way. The ceremony begins. Children step up one by one and place their hands on a glowing crystal ball. Their stats and talent are then inscribed on a large metal plate behind the Reverend. The first few kids reveal a range of results. Not everyone gets a talent, and Alan observes that having any talent at all seems to be cause for serious celebration. Palomis, the chieftain's son, gets the merchant talent. His family is overjoyed. Dagora, a serf kid who will become a recurring face, gets Axe User with an A-rank attack attribute, the first A-rank anyone has seen all ceremony. The crowd buzzes. Higher ranks only seem to appear when someone has a talent backing them up. And then it's ᴅɪsᴜʟ's turn. The Reverend reads the results and visibly pauses. He calls it a miracle. The whole room goes still. ᴅɪsᴜʟ has the talent of Sword Lord, one of the rarest and most powerful talents in existence. Her attack is S rank, her endurance and agility are both A rank. The crowd completely erupts. People are chanting her name. Even adults who barely know her are losing their minds. ᴅɪsᴟᴜ herself, being 5, is mildly disappointed that she didn't get swordswoman specifically, but that's pure ᴅɪsᴜ energy right there. The girl is so naturally powerful that she can't even appreciate how exceptional she is yet. Alan watches all of this with a small smile. He's always known ᴅɪsᴜʟᴜ was absurdly overpowered. It's the only logical explanation for why, even with all his buffs from stacked summon cards, he can barely keep up with her in their daily playfights. Swordlord checks out completely. Now it's Alan's turn. He steps up, the grimoire appears, and then immediately vanishes.
Alan scrambles. He can feel the crystal ball activating, so the ceremony is going through, but the grimoire disappearing is alarming. The results appear on the metal plate, and the Reverend's face falls. His parents, who can't read, ask the Reverend to tell them what it says about Alan. The Reverend delivers the news. Alan has no talent. His stats? Every single attribute is E rank across the board. HP, MP, attack, endurance, agility, luck, all E. And where his talent should be displayed, the text reads something garbled and completely unreadable. Alan can see it clearly in his grimoire perspective, and he is furious. It's a straight-up text rendering glitch. The Summoner class is so new and so under-tested that the game literally broke during his appraisal. He internally loses it on the developers, calling them useless scrubs and promising to drown them in complaint letters. The most hilarious part is that this is a divine god we're talking about, ᴅɪsᴄʟ, the god of creation, and Alan is ready to send strongly worded feedback submissions to the literal heavens. His parents take the news with grace and warmth. ᴅɪsᴄʟ hugs him and tells him talents don't matter, that he will always be their pride and joy. His little brother Mash reaches out to him from ᴅɪsᴄʟ's arms. Rodin is steady and supportive. Alan watches them and thinks, despite everything, despite the terrible stats on paper and the glitching talent display, he's still happy he was born into this family. But Alan is also intellectually processing what happened. He works it out. Everyone at the ceremony is 5 years old and should be at level 1. The rank system reflects the growth potential of each attribute, how much a stat will increase with each level up. Since Hell mode makes his level up progression 1/100th of the normal rate, his growth values per level are also 1/100th of normal, which is why all his attributes show as E rank. He's not actually weak, his progression is just measured in a completely different unit than everyone else's, and when his talent display glitched, it was because the Summoner class is unrecognized by the system, not because he doesn't have one.
Alan and Mash are at home in the afternoon when they hear shouting outside. The village men come running back, and they're carrying Rodin. He's been badly hurt. A boar fang went straight through his gut. It looks terrible. Gerda and the others managed to keep him alive using a healing herb, a ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ flower, one of the most valuable medicines in the region, worth 5 gold coins. It turns out Captain Zenoff had gifted Gerda some gold coins when the knights came to apologize for putting Krenna through that brutal duel. Without those coins, Gerda couldn't have afforded the flower, and without the flower, Rodin would be dead. The backstory of what happened during the hunt is devastating and infuriating in equal measure. The chieftain had ordered Rodin and Gerda to let commoners join the boar hunt. The commoners were interested because they'd heard stories of Rodin being called a legendary hunter, and they assumed that being around him made the hunt safer. Rodin and Gerda were uncomfortable with this, but had no authority to refuse the chieftain's orders. The commoners didn't take the preparation seriously. Some of them seemed to think being taught by serfs was beneath them, so they didn't practice the strategies properly. During the actual hunt, when things got dangerous and the plan required synchronized action, the commoner participants completely abandoned the strategy and broke formation. This threw everything into chaos. Rodin had to improvise, covering for their failure, and that's when he took the fang to the gut. The boar was eventually killed, but the damage was done. Alan watches his father being carried home and feels something shift inside him. He's been so absorbed in his personal stat grinding, so focused on building his power level, that he lost track of why any of it matters. These aren't game NPCs. These are real people in a harsh world, fighting every single day just to survive. And his father nearly died today. He has a little brother to protect, another sibling on the way. This world doesn't have a respawn button. He steps up. He starts helping around the house, taking over chores that ᴅɪsᴄʟ normally handles, working the harvest under Gerda's supervision. When Gerda watches Alan pull up a potato with one arm, using strength that no 7-year-old should have, he's genuinely stunned. Alan just grins and says he gets it from his dad. It's a great moment. The idiot commoner who broke formation eventually shows up at the door with fruit and a groveling apology. Alan handles it calmly. Be more careful next time if you want to keep hunting. But ᴅɪsᴄʟ delivers the real verdict.
Everyone has a family to go back to, no matter their social class. Keep that in mind. It's a quiet line, but it cuts deep. Rodin gradually recovers, surrounded by his surf friends bringing food and care packages. Alan watches his parents and quietly reaffirms his real goal. He doesn't just want strong stats, he wants to protect this family. He tells his recovering father directly, "Just rest. I've got it." Then Alan, determined to actually contribute, sets up a hunt using Hopper's provoke ability to lure birds into a trap area. His goal is modest, maybe 50 ducks or wild birds, enough to help his family survive the winter. But what actually shows up drawn by the provoke ability is not a duck. It is an ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇᴜ, a B-rank monster, the same species he was named after, standing in front of him right now, very large and very angry. Alan's internal calculation is swift. He has his enhanced summons. His enhanced skill is now level 2, which means stat boosts of +20 instead of +10 on enhanced creatures. Every summon in his inventory has already been enhanced. He could run, but hardcore gamers don't run from challenges, and more practically, defeating this thing could feed his family. He summons Fido, and they engage. The fight is brutal. As his summons are defeated one by one, Alan loses their passive buffs and physically gets weaker in real time. Each creature going down strips away stat points he was relying on. It's a core downside of the summoner class that he hadn't fully accounted for in a real combat scenario. You're only as strong as your summons still standing. And by the time the ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ has carved through most of them, Alan is in serious trouble. The episode ends on a cliffhanger, with Alan in a genuinely dangerous position. He's lost most of his buffs, the ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ is still standing, and there's no backup coming. This is hell mode in its purest form. The despair is real, but so is the gamer.
We are picking up right where we left off. Alan is in a bad spot. The ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ is still on its feet, his summons are mostly down, and his passive buffs are draining away with each creature he loses. But this is Alan we're talking about, and he's not done yet. In a flash of tactical thinking, Alan calls out one of his remaining summons, one he's been sitting on specifically because of an ability he hypothesized but never tested in real combat. He names it Sucker, and its ability is an energy drain attack. Alan gambles that this creature can steal vitality directly from the ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ. He's right, it connects, dealing real damage and shifting the momentum. Alan doesn't win this fight with brute force, he wins it by draining the monster down. And when the dust settles, the notification appears. 1 ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ defeated, 100 EXP gained. Alan collapses for a moment, then throws his arms up. He has just beaten his first real monster. He describes the rush as beyond words, and this is a man who has spent his entire previous life chasing exactly this kind of high through video games. But this isn't a screen, this is real. The blood on his cheek is real. The dead B-rank monster at his feet is real. That feeling of accomplishment is more intense than anything he remembers from his past life. He hauls the ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ back to the village and promptly becomes famous. The adults are stunned. Rodin, still recovering, watches his son drag in a 60-kilogram monster with the nonchalance of someone who just went for a walk. Gerda notices what look like dog bite marks on the body and raises an eyebrow. Alan claims he fought on pure instinct. Gerda doesn't push it, but he definitely files it away. Gerda, ever the practical man, immediately sees opportunity. Alan is a minor, and his father has just been badly injured in a hunt caused by commoner incompetence. There's real leverage here for negotiating a better deal with the chieftain. He and Alan visit the chieftain together. The negotiation is a masterclass in small-scale political maneuvering. Gerda plays up Alan's story, the brave child who hunted a monster to help his injured father's family survive winter. Alan even plays along with a little performance of looking tired and hungry at exactly the right moment. The chieftain caves. Deal struck. Alan and his family get to keep all the meat from any ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ he catches. Only the wings and magic stones go to the chieftain as tax. For the future too, if he manages to catch more. That agreement is critical. It's the first crack Alan puts in the economic wall of serfdom. He sets a goal. Hunt 10 ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜs before winter to secure his family's food supply. He reaches it. Methodically, over the following weeks, he goes out every 3 days and hunts.
By the time he's done, the family has enough dried ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ meat to make it through the cold season. Then he goes further and keeps hunting. The big moment arrives. Alan defeats 2 ᴅɪsᴄʟns simultaneously for the first time. He manages to do it without losing a single summon in the process, a flawless victory. And the moment both birds go down, a critical notification appears. His EXP has hit the maximum, 1000 out of 1000. He has reached level 2. Alan opens his stat page, and the numbers that come back are enormous. Every attribute has increased by a significant amount. HP, MP, attack, endurance, agility, intelligence, luck, all substantially boosted. His HP and MP both fully restore upon leveling up, just like in any game. He describes the sensation of passing a trial of the gods as feeling absolutely incredible. 6 years. 6 years since being reincarnated, 100 times the EXP requirement of any normal person, and he has finally hit level 2. Alan decides this is the right time to let his parents in on part of the truth. Not all of it. He obviously can't tell them he's a reincarnated gamer, and he absolutely cannot reveal he's a summoner yet, since people might misunderstand or fear someone who commands monsters. But he needs to give them something. He's been acting strangely his whole life, training in secret, hunting monsters alone, and now his body healed from a wound overnight, which Reborn recognizes as the same phenomenon as passing a trial of the gods during a hunt. So Alan constructs a believable story. He tells his parents that when he was 1 year old, he heard an oracle from ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ, the god of creation. The oracle promised him a blessing of power and wisdom, but also warned him that he would face trials beyond what even 100 men could accomplish, and to use those blessings to overcome them. He explains that this is why his attributes were all E rank at the appraisal ceremony, because his progression is measured differently, and his talent wasn't recognized because it was too new for the ceremony to display properly.
Reborn connects the dots immediately. The leveling up sensation, the healed cheek, that's a trial of the gods. He's seen it before on hunts. He looks at his son with new eyes. ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ starts crying, overwhelmed that Alan has been carrying all of this silently from the age of 1, training and grinding and fighting all by himself. Alan apologizes. Reborn tells him not to. Lord ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ prepared this trial specifically for Alan, and it's worth taking on. Just don't hesitate to ask for help when you need it. Then Reborn adds one personal caveat. He wants to tell Gerda. Not for any strategic reason, purely because Gerda always brags about how incredible Krenna is, and now Reborn finally has something to fire back with. The competitive dad energy in this scene is hilarious. The episode then shifts to Alan, now age 6, on his first trip to the commoner market to trade goods with Gerda. It's a fascinating window into the economic structure of this world. Alan is picking up everything he can, how bartering works, what goods are worth, what the exchange rates are between currency and food. He's doing mental math the whole time. 1 pack of ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ jerky equals 4 days of firewood. 1 silver coin equals 100 copper coins. 1 gold coin equals 100 silver. To buy his family's way out of serfdom, 10 gold coins per person, 5 people, he needs 50 gold coins, or 5,000 silver, or roughly 500 ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜs worth of jerky. He mentally notes that at his current hunting pace, that would only take a few years. For a hardcore gamer, that's a walk in the park. At the medicine stall, he overhears the merchant fuming about a customer named Gerda, who burst in, demanded the best healing medicine, begged to pay 3 gold out of the 5 gold asking price, and only paid the rest later. Alan realizes that medicine was the ᴅɪsᴄʟᴜ flower that saved Reborn's life. He retrieves a mulmo fruit he'd pocketed from the chieftain's celebration and hands it to the merchant as a thank you. The merchant is moved. It's a small gesture with enormous weight. On the way home, Alan runs into Dogora, the axe user from the appraisal ceremony, who is hanging around the blacksmith's shop with Palomas, the chieftain's son. Dogora demands Alan be his minion and takes a swing at him with a stick. Alan doesn't retaliate. He just tells Dogora to call himself a knight of the axe and says he'll come back to trade at his store someday. Then he walks away, leaving a furious Dogora swinging at air. Palomas looks appropriately awkward. Alan is 40 inside. He's not interested in kid drama. Back in the village, things are heating up again.
The chieftain calls in Reborn and ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ with an unwelcome announcement. The Baron has demanded an increase in the boar quota from 10 to 15, and the commoners must be allowed to join the hunt again this year. If they don't meet 15 boars by winter, the Baron will recruit additional serfs from elsewhere, which would divide the land, shrink everyone's portions, and potentially destabilize ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ village entirely. Next year, the target would jump to 20. The two men are furious. 20 boars is a number that seemed impossible not long ago. More frequent hunts mean more risk, more casualties, more pressure on everyone. But they have no power to refuse the Baron directly. Alan cuts in. He points out the obvious. Even if they ramp up the hunts, the Baron will just keep raising the bar every year until it breaks them. The math doesn't work in their favor no matter how hard they push alone. The solution, he argues, is to make the commoners actually useful this time, rather than just dead weight. Train them properly, build a real team. He explains, with more authority than any 6-year-old should have, that he has wisdom blessed to him by Lord ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ, and that he's spent countless hours studying how to build characters and integrate new members into a party safely. He knows how to structure a team so that even a complete beginner can contribute without getting everyone killed. He asks Reborn and ᴅɪsᴄʟᴇ to let him handle it. And the episode ends with that offer on the table. Two weathered, experienced hunters looking at a 6-year-old who just leveled up for the first time and now suggesting he can fix their manpower crisis with game theory. The smart money says let him try.
Episode 5 is arguably the most important episode of the series so far in terms of Alan's development as a summoner, because by the end of it, he finally understands what the class is actually designed to do. Let's get into it. We open with the first boar hunt of the new season. Reborn is recovered and back on his feet, and the full hunting team is assembled, serfs and commoners together, just like the Baron ordered. Alan is with them, but Reborn absolutely refuses to let him participate in the actual fighting. He's allowed to observe and nothing else. Alan grumbles about this, but accepts it, reminding himself that the more important thing right now is making sure the commoners actually contribute properly this time. And this is where Alan's gaming knowledge pays off in a very visible way. He spent time teaching the commoners the fundamentals of organized combat, not through lectures about tactics, through practical drilling of each specific role in the hunt's formation. There's a bait team that lures the boar into the hunting grounds, a tank team that holds it in place with large shields made from boar hide, and a strike team that attacks its vital points once it's controlled. Each role is simple on its own. Combined, they form a machine that can reliably bring down a C-rank monster without improvisation. The boar arrives. The bait team does its job. The tank team locks the boar down, and then, crucially, the commoners are given the signal to make a single strike on the animal. They connect. The hunt succeeds cleanly. The commoners notice it immediately. They can feel a wave of energy passing through them. One of them asks if this is the trial of the gods. Another says yes, he feels stronger. They've leveled up. Alan watches this with quiet satisfaction and a private frustration. Since he was just standing nearby and not part of the actual combat, he didn't gain any EXP from this fight. The system doesn't count passive observation as participation. But Alan has already been thinking about this. Just before the next boar arrives, he secretly summons Denka, his insect summon, and positions it just inside the combat area. His summons can be called to any location he can visibly mark within roughly 50 meters. When the boar attacks Denka during the fight, that counts as Alan participating in the battle. The system registers him as a combatant, and when the boar goes down, Alan gets his EXP. He hits level 3. He internally cheers, then quietly apologizes to Denka for the sacrifice. Rest in peace, little grasshopper. This is such a perfectly Alan move. He didn't break any rule, he didn't cheat. He found the exact edge case in the system that lets him participate without endangering anyone or tipping off his father. That's the hardcore gamer approach. Find the optimal solution the designers didn't bother to patch. Time skip. 3 months later, New Year's celebration at the chieftain's residence, the first time Alan has ever been invited to the chief's house. It's a reward for successfully meeting the 15 boar quota. The chieftain thanks everyone and confirms that at their current pace, 20 boars this year should be achievable. Alan's plan worked.
Back at home, the celebration continues with the families together. Then Alan spots it, a special bottle of liquor that the chieftain gifted him. He sets it behind himself with deliberate casualness. His father and Gerda notice it in about 5 seconds. The two dads circle the bottle like hungry wolves, trying to talk Alan into giving it up. Alan, playing the angle perfectly, announces he'll hand it over, but only if he beat them in an arm wrestling contest. If he wins, he gets to use a spear during the boar hunts this year. Rodin and Gerda agree without thinking, then immediately realized they walked into a trap set by their 7-year-old. Alan has been strategically stacking his inventory with Beast FF Fido cards and pouring every available buff into his attack stat. He's also at level 6 by this point, which means his base stats are substantially higher than a month ago. He goes first against Gerda. It's absurdly close. Alan gives Gerda a genuine fight. The adult is visibly straining. Gerda wins, but barely. Alan uses this data immediately. He runs the math. Gerda's attack stat must be somewhere between 150 and 200. That's a rough estimate, but it gives Alan a real-world benchmark for comparing his own stats to normal mode humans of Gerda's experience level. Then Alan faces Rodin. He loses again, but this time it's not as close. Rodin's attack stat reads as being above 300 at minimum. He's significantly stronger than Gerda. Alan catalogs this calmly. Rodin is C rank physical strength. Gerda is somewhere around D rank. These aren't arbitrary assessments, they're data points Alan is building towards understanding what he'll need to achieve to genuinely compete at this world's upper levels. Alan takes the loss with characteristic composure. He jokes that he's going to beat his dad before fall. Rodin laughs. Alan means it completely. Now the episode hits a turning point that reframes everything. It is June of Alan's 7th year. His summon skill has reached level 4, along with his enhanced skill reaching level 4, and Grimoire expansion hitting level 3. His card inventory goes up by 10, now 40 slots, and he unlocks a brand new fixed skill, Storage.
Storage is exactly what it sounds like. Alan discovers a hole that appears in front of him, seemingly bottomless, that accepts any physical object he places inside. He tests it with stones, then firewood, then water. He can retrieve stored items instantly through a mental inventory interface. The hole takes anything and holds an unlimited quantity with no apparent weight limit. It is, in gaming terms, an absurdly overpowered inventory skill. Alan stares at it and wonders why exactly this was given to him now, at this specific moment. In his experience, items show up in games when they're needed for something specific. The timing isn't random. He doesn't have to wait long to understand why. Alan's summon level 4 has also unlocked E-rank summons across multiple creature types. He tries to create an E-rank insect immediately, but gets an error message he's never seen before. You do not have enough E-rank magic stones to create insect E. Magic stones are required as crafting materials now. This is new. He's been collecting magic stones passively, the gems embedded in monsters near their hearts, but never thought of them as a resource for creation. He has a few horned rabbit E-rank magic stones he'd squirreled away, and he quickly tests whether putting them in storage and then using create works. It does. Storage is the delivery mechanism for magic stones. That's why he got it now. The E-rank creatures are a massive leap forward. Alan creates one of each type and discovers Insect E is a massive butterfly called Papillon. Its ability is Scale Powder, a powder that can be used to apply debuffs to enemies. Its buffs give Alan Endurance plus 10 and Agility plus 10, double what the F ranks gave. Beast E is a saber-toothed tiger-like creature he names Tama. Its ability is Claw, a powerful physical attack. Its buffs give HP plus 10 and Attack plus 10, double what the F ranks gave. Bird E is a hawk Alan names Hawkins. Its ability is Hawk Eye, an intel gathering and long-range vision ability. Buffs, Agility plus 10 and Intelligence plus 10. Grass E is a healing-type creature named Beansy. Ability, Leaf of Life, which can restore HP to allies. Buffs, MP plus 10 and Luck plus 10. Stone E is a rock-type creature named Wally.
Ability, Harden, pure defense and damage mitigation. Buffs, HP plus 10 and Endurance plus 10. 5 new types, 5 distinct roles. And Alan, standing back and looking at the whole picture, has an epiphany. He's been thinking about the Summoner class as a damage dealer or a support role, but that framing is too narrow. The Summoner class isn't designed to fill one role in a party, it's designed to fill every role simultaneously. Insect types apply debuffs, beast types handle offense, bird types cover reconnaissance and intel, grass types handle healing and MP recovery, stone types anchor defense. Attack, defense, debuffing, healing, detection, a complete party in one person. A summoner doesn't need allies. A summoner is the allies. This is the revelation that recontextualizes everything. Alan finally understands what the developers designed the Summoner class to be. It's not just a high difficulty class because of the 100 times EXP cost. It's because the payoff, when fully realized, is unmatched. A summoner with a full roster of diverse, leveled-up summons is stronger than any single class in the game, possibly stronger than any class combination in the game. That's the principle of this world that was hinted at in Hell Mode's description. Should you prove capable of overcoming despair, you shall discover the principle of the world. And Alan also now understands precisely why the storage skill was granted when it was. Walking around with hundreds of magic stones needed to create E-rank summons is physically impossible without a bag of holding. Storage is the infrastructure that makes the E-rank system work. The developers thought of everything. Alan just had to catch up to what they designed. The episode closes with the full team assembled. Papillon, Tama, Hawkins, Beansy, Wally, alongside veterans like Denka, Hopper, Moley, Chappie, and Oppo. Alan looks at all of them and thinks about what's next. He has an unrivaled army at his disposal, an army that can overcome any situation and rout any enemy. And the Summoner, he now believes, is the most powerful class in this world, stronger even than the Demon Lord because it can do everything. He just needs to keep grinding because it's Hell Mode, and Hell doesn't give you anything for free.
We pick up with the chieftain summoning Alan for a somewhat unusual request. Baron Granvelle is coming to visit Krina village in person. He wants to observe a boar hunt firsthand, and the chieftain needs someone to serve as the Baron's tour guide and entertainment host for the visit, starting with dinner the night before the hunt. He wants Alan for the job. The adults in the room are puzzled. Why Alan? Why not the chieftain's own son Pelomas? The chieftain is refreshingly honest about it. Pelomas just isn't cut out for this. Alan, on the other hand, has already proven he can think on his feet and present ideas effectively. He's the right person for the job. The chieftain sweetens the pitch with a basket of momo fruits. Alan sees through the fruit immediately. He's not cheap, but he is strategic. He runs the calculation quickly. As a serf, he has almost no freedom to leave the village. The exception is hunting. Saving up the 50 gold coins to buy commoner status for his entire family through hunting alone would take years at minimum. But there is one other option, mentioned long ago. The Baron can personally elevate someone's social class as a reward. If this visit goes well, that becomes a real possibility. Alan decides to take the job. Baron Granvelle arrives. He's a formal but genuinely civil man, and one of his first acts is to apologize for pushing the boar quota increase. He explains that the demand ultimately came from the king, filtered through a scheming viscount named Carnell, who apparently mentioned the boar hunts in front of His Majesty at exactly the wrong moment. The Baron was caught between royal expectations and the practical limits of a frontier serf village. He acknowledges the unfairness. It's a humanizing detail that reframes him from the faceless authority figure he's been throughout the story. Accompanying the Baron is his daughter, Cecil. Cecil is young, sharp-tongued, and deeply uncomfortable with anything that disrupts her sense of how the social hierarchy is supposed to work. When Alan is introduced at the dinner table, she immediately objects to a serf being in the guest hall at all. Baron Granvelle shuts her down firmly. Serfs are fair members of his fiefdom, not animals. Alan takes the moment in stride, though he does privately note why he's getting the stink eye. The dinner itself is a quiet triumph for Alan.
He had prepared an Overpowered dish, breast meat, thigh meat, and liver all seasoned with a blend of herbs, using a bird hunted just the day before, as fresh as possible. The Baron and Cecil are immediately impressed. Captain Zenoff, who has accompanied the Baron, recognizes Alan and greets him warmly. The Baron learns Alan is Rodin the boar hunter's son, and remarks that it explains the familiar dark hair and eyes. There's genuine goodwill in the room, and Alan navigates it with the social grace of someone who's been watching adults his entire life, because mentally, that's exactly what he is. When the Baron mentions casually that if the serfs can't handle 20 boars, his knights will simply take over the hunts, Alan doesn't flinch. He replies calmly that 20 boars is a paltry number, and the next day's performance will convince the Baron there's no need for any such arrangement. It's a bold thing to say. Captain Zenoff looks quietly impressed. Hunt day arrives. Alan has set up a watchtower observation point where the Baron and Cecil can watch safely from above. He guides Cecil and her attendant Sebas up to the platform and begins explaining everything in real time. This is where his encyclopedic knowledge of game mechanics, adapted into the language of this world, genuinely shines. He describes the bait team's role and why they're lightly armored for speed. He explains how the large shields are made from doubled boar hide, the toughest part of the animal's back, providing armor that the serfs couldn't afford to buy but could make themselves from their own hunts. He walks through the long spear team's positioning and why the armored frontliners also protect the newer members' backs in case of a missed thrust. Cecil doesn't say much, but she's watching closely. The first boar goes down smoothly. Then, mid-hunt, 2 boars arrive simultaneously. The knights in the party tense up. Liebrand, the vice-captain who once dueled Krina, moves to intervene. Alan stops him with steady confidence. The team is trained for this. Let them handle it. Rodin and Gerda split into 2 groups and manage the double boar situation. It's not clean, and for a moment the tension is genuinely high, but they pull it off. Cecil, white-knuckled at the railing, eventually exhales. Alan offers the Baron some quiet context while they watch. He explains that for over 10 years the serfs have been hunting without armor because 60% of their boar meat goes to taxes, and the remainder gets bartered for winter necessities like firewood and salt. Spears were the only equipment they could afford to upgrade, but by mastering an efficient hunting strategy and gradually building up surplus, they were able to invest in armor. Better armor means safer hunts. Safer hunts mean more successful kills. More kills mean more surplus. The cycle feeds itself. It just takes time and discipline to initiate. Alan doesn't frame this as a complaint, he frames it as a matter of basic progression, but the implication that the tax structure has been suppressing what these people are capable of lands clearly. After 3 boars fall cleanly, the Baron turns to Captain Zenoff and says with genuine admiration, "These men may not be knights, but they are worthy of being called warriors." Zenoff agrees. Alan quietly exhales. With the performance established, Alan presses his advantage. He makes 2 formal requests for the village. First, permission to build 2 more shield walls so the hunting team can scale up further. The Baron approves without hesitation. Second, permission to trade in and distribute liquor among the serfs.
This one requires explanation. As the hunting teams grow more efficient and kill more boars, the supply of meat within the village will eventually exceed local demand. Too much supply crashes the price of meat, which reduces what the serfs can barter for essential goods. Introducing liquor as an import and trade good diversifies the economic base, stabilizing value and keeping the hunters' morale and their leverage in trade from eroding. The Baron hears the logic. Captain Zenoff endorses it. The Baron approves both requests. Then the Baron turns to Rodin and Gerda. He commends their fighting prowess and their decade-plus of dedication to building this village, and then he says the words Alan has been quietly angling toward this entire episode. He is elevating both men and their entire families to commoner status, effective immediately. Alan's reaction internally is an eruption of pure triumph. 8 years. 8 years of grinding, planning, and waiting. Goodbye serfdom, hello commoner status. Now he can leave the village. Now he can hunt outside its borders. Now the White Dragon Mountains, visible on the horizon, home to legendary creatures and mythical dragons, are technically within reach. He has dreamed of this moment countless times. But the episode isn't done with him yet. After the main business concludes, the Baron asks Gerda to tell the story of how the boar hunts began. Apparently, the king himself wants to know for historical records. Gerda tells it honestly. 13 years ago, roughly 100 serfs relocated to this land to help develop it under the reclamation decree. 6 months in, a boar attacked and devoured most of their stored food for winter. They had nothing. Going back to their old villages wasn't an option. Rodin stood up and proposed they hunt the boar for meat. They had no proper weapons, no armor, no strategy. They went in with pickaxes and hoes. They killed the boar, and they lost a friend doing it. When the group emerged from that fight and leveled up, when their wounds healed and the trial of the gods passed through them, their friend's wounds didn't heal. He didn't make it. Alan absorbs this quietly, and suddenly everything clicks. He now understands why Rodin, when the incompetent commoner broke formation and nearly got him killed, covered for the man afterward and accepted his apology so easily. Rodin knows what it looks like when someone's carelessness costs a person their life, because he carries that guilt himself. He didn't want to become the person who withholds forgiveness. He's been living in that shadow for over a decade. The Baron is moved. He tells Rodin the village would never have survived without his leadership in that moment, and that the lives lost should be honored as the foundation of everything ᴅɪsᴄʟ village became. He offers Rodin a bonus reward. Ask for whatever he wishes. And this is where everything goes sideways for Alan. Rodin looks at his son and asks the Baron to please allow Alan to work at his estate. Alan freezes. This was not the plan. This was nowhere in the plan. He scrambles internally for any exit, any excuse, any diplomatic objection he can raise, but there is simply no socially acceptable way for a serf, now commoner child, to refuse a Baron's employment offer. The Baron considers it for a moment, talks to his steward Cebus, and formalizes the appointment. Alan is officially named manservant to the Granville family. Cecil erupts. She can't stand the idea of a former serf living in their house. The Baron ignores her. Alan stares into the middle distance, mentally listing all the freedom he just lost. The goodbye scene that follows is quietly devastating and surprisingly funny. Alan challenges ᴅɪsᴄʟ to one last duel before he leaves. He loads up his inventory with 20 copies of Hawkins, his Hawk-type E-rank summon, and dumps everything into agility. He goes all in. For perhaps the first time in their years of playing together, Alan is genuinely competitive with ᴅɪsᴄʟ at full effort. They fight to what Alan diplomatically calls a draw. ᴅɪsᴄʟ looks stunned. Alan tells her they'll settle it when they meet again someday, and she gives him the smile he was hoping to see. He says goodbye to Mosh, to his baby sister Mula, to Matilda, who helped deliver him years ago, to Gerda and the whole village. Dogora shoves something into his hands as a parting gift, and then acts like he didn't. It's an extremely Dogora moment. Rodin tells Alan manservant is only the first step, and to work hard. Alan says he will. He means it. He walks away from the only home he's known in this life. The White Dragon Mountains are still on the horizon. The world is huge, and he's only just gotten clearance to enter it. Hell mode is still running. The grind never stops, but Alan has laid a foundation for his family, for his class, for himself, that nobody can take away.